Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today we're going to be starting a new album. I have already made the cover, and as always, the sizes for the cover and the video will be in the description below. This one is a little thicker than usual. There's a lot of elements in this album, so we're going to do this video is going to be the inside back cover, hinges, and base pages, and then probably we're going to be doing each page separately, so that's going to be 6 extra videos. So, to start off with, you will need a piece that is 5.5 by 8 3/8, and a piece that is 7 7/8 by 9. On the 7 7/8 by 9, you want the 7 7/8 at the top, and we are going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then on our other piece, you want to start with the 8 3/8 at the top, and we're just going to score at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. Just like that. Now you want to fold and burnish on all of your score marks that we just made. Once your score marks are folded and burnished, we are going to take our scissors and we're going to start with our pocket, miter the top 2 corners, and cut out the bottom 2 squares. And then with our large flap here, you want the tab to be on the right. Actually, you want the tab to be towards you, because we're going to mark from the bottom up 5 inches. And then you are going to take your paper trimmer, and we're going to go from that mark up to the top corner. So then it should look like this. This will be your full 9 inches, and then this right here will be your 5 inches. And then your tab is right here. And we can just erase our mark, and we'll need to cut this a little bit, and then we can cut this bottom corner. So we're going to connect these 2 pieces before we add them into our album. So we're going to flip our flap to the back side, and then we're going to start with the bottom tab of our pocket. Add a little bit of glue. And we're going to put our pocket right along the bottom of this flap. You want to make sure that you're not going over your tab. So it'll look like this, okay? And then we can remove backings on the sides, and we can put these side tabs down. And this pocket should go to the top of the short side, just like this. The top of my pocket aligns perfectly with the top of my short side. So now our pocket is added on, and we can grab our album cover and this is going to go right along the outer edge like so. Just like that, okay? Now, to keep this closed, we are going to add a magnet. So, I'm gonna grab 2 magnets and just to make this a little easier, I'm going to do it on the inside. So first one is going to go on top of my pocket, the inside of my flap here. And then my second one is going to go on my inside cover. Just like this. And there's this back page done. For the hinge, you will need a piece that is 5.5 by 9 7/8. The 5.5 at the top, we're going to score it 3/4, 1.5, 2, 2 3/4, 3.5, 4, and 4 3/4. We need to trim off a very little bit on both sides. So I'm going to take my paper trimmer and just cut a very small sliver off, like 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch Not very much at all. You just want enough cut off so that when you put your hinge on, it won't peel up. Now we are going to make our hinges, and we have 3 hinges, and those are the 3/4 spaces. So I'm going to grab some score tape here and add a piece to one side of each of my hinges. Now the outer 2, I'm adding it to the outer side of my hinge since it is shorter. I'm going to burnish that really well. As best as I can. And then we can fold on all of our score marks, but I'm not going to burnish right now. I'm just going to fold on all of my score marks. So I'm going to start with the outer 2 first. And somewhere should be my poker tool. So we're just going to add a little bit of glue. You only need to do it on one side. Stick it down, making sure that the sides are as straight as you can get them. And then we can just burnish this down really well. And the other side, same way. Stick it down. And then the center one. This one, the inside ones I do a little bit differently. So I have my glue, I'm going to stick it together, making sure that my edges are as even as possible. Gonna burnish it really well. Open both sides up so I can lay it on my table, and then I fold both sides back to make sure that they're even, and then I can burnish. And I burnish them while both sides are up. And then it's nice and flush. Then I can take my 2 outer hinges and I can burnish those up so that I have my 2 gussets visible, just like so. And now I'm going to add some score tape. So I always find that, let me do slightly smaller score tape for this. I noticed that, at least for me, adding both score tape and glue keeps my hinges on really well. And with this, I like to burnish my score tape with my center hinges going one way, and then I flip my hinges going the other direction, and then I burnish my score tape again so that it's in all of the grooves as best as I can get them. So this is a 1-inch hinge, and we have a 2.5-inch spine. So it's going to be a little larger of a front and back. You could decrease it to 2 inches if you want, but adding the 1/2 inch gives you a little bit more wiggle room, since there's a lot of stuff going on with the pages. You could even make your hinges a little bit wider. But I'm just going to go with this size hinge for my album. So add a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to grab my ruler and center it as best as I can. Then I should be able to just stick it right down. Now I'm going to check really quick on my other side. Make sure that's even in. Slight difference, but it's perfectly good. So I'm just gonna stick it right down. Just like that. And there's my hinge. Now, for adding the pages in, what I like to do, and I usually actually do this in the book, I take some score tape, and I don't do it the full length, but I take some score tape, and it's like about half the size of my hinges, maybe a little less. And then I just stick it on the top. And that gives me a guide to where I put my pages at. Now, you don't have to use score tape for a guide if you don't want. You can make a mark, or you can just eyeball it. It's all up to you. Okay, our hinges are ready, and now we can work on our pages. I'm going to show you how to make one of them, and then I will do the other two off camera. You will need 3 pieces that are 7 by 10, 3 pieces that are 7.5 by 11, and 3 pieces that are 7.5 by 10. The 7 by 10s, we are not doing anything to, so you can put those off to the side. With our 7.5 by 10s, you want this 7.5 at the top, and we're going to score all 3 of them at half. And then the 7.5 by 11s, start with the 11 at the top. And we are just going to score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. Now we're going to take all of our pieces and fold and burnish them and miter on all of our corners. Once you have all your pieces mitered and everything, it's time to put them together. So we're going to start off with our 7 by 10. We're going to take our 7.5 by 11, and you want the large bottom tab of your pocket. And we're going to attach it to our main page, our base page. Evenly as possible. Just like that. Now, going to stick down our 2 pockets, or 2 sides, to make a kind of like a thicker page. This will help with the stability of the page, since we're going to have so much on it. And then we're going to take our 7.5 by 10 and you want the tab to go on the opposite side of the opening. Just like this. So we have a flap and a little pocket here. So I'm going to go ahead and make the other 2 pages really quick, and then I will be back to show you how to add them into the album. So it's time to add our pages in, and I always like to start in the back. So I'm just going to take off the backing of my double-sided adhesive here. Maybe. There we go. And I'm gonna add glue all the way down. But I'm not going I'm putting it all the way across, but not going all the way down. I'm making sure that I keep my glue above where my adhesive is. So now I am going to put one of my pages on, and I'm going to line it up with the bottom of my adhesive, checking both sides to make sure that it's lined up on both sides the way I want it. And then once I'm happy, just stick it down. Just like that. Okay. Now, this page might look a little familiar if you've done a lot of albums before. Usually, the flap goes the other way. If you want to put it the other way, you can. This is just how I designed it for this album, but if you're more comfortable with the flap going the other way, totally fine. This is kind of like a Z-fold page, but in reverse, because the flap is going the other direction. Now, my pages aren't going to line up together perfectly, but it's not going to be totally perfect because this is handmade and nothing handmade is perfect. And once everything is on the pages, no one will even notice. So here is our last page. down. And they're kind of going staggered, but it looks okay. And there you go. Got our pages in. We got our back inside cover done. And it's ready to decorate. If you liked starting this album with me, hit the like button. If you want to see more albums like this or other things that I've done, hit subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.